Buffalo Bills walked into their own house under the bright lights of a hyped-up whiteout game and somehow forgot the basics. The fundamentals: ball security, composure, execution. It was sloppy, it was frustrating, and most of all, it was avoidable. A game that should have been another step forward in the AFC East standings turned into their first real stumble of the season, falling to the Patriots by a score of 23-20. And make no mistake, this wasn't just a case of getting beat. This was a case of giving it away. 3 turnovers, 11 penalties, missed assignments, blown opportunities. From the very first snap, you could feel something wasn't quite right with this Bills team. There wasn't urgency. There wasn't bite. And when Josh Allen, who's been known for controlling the chaos more than creating it lately, started coughing up the football, you knew they were in for a long night. That fumble in the backfield, the awkward interception, it all piled up. And you can't give away possessions in this league and expect to skate by, especially not against a Patriots squad that came into the game hungry, organized, and with something to prove. Now let's not get twisted. New England played a solid football game. Drake May came in and, for the first time on a national stage, outplayed Josh Allen. And yes, it's fair to say that. He didn't just manage the game, he elevated it, made the throws he needed to make, didn't flinch under pressure. When the game was on the line, he executed with poise. And while this isn't some AFC East changing of the guard moment, for one night, May looked like the quarterback who could handle the moment better. What's even more frustrating is that Buffalo had their chances. You could feel it throughout the night. This game was never truly out of reach. The Patriots weren't dominating. The Bills just weren't getting out of their own way. And for a team that prides itself on discipline, on high-level football IQ, it was a shock to see them look this unprepared. From the delay of game calls to lining up incorrectly to missed tackles and poorly timed penalties, it just felt like Buffalo never truly found their rhythm. But if you want to talk about the real gut punch of this loss, look no further than number 14, Stefon Diggs. The same Stefon Diggs that Buffalo let go. The same guy who, love him or hate him, is still a difference maker. A game changer. And he came into his old home and reminded everyone of that. From the first snap, he was locked in. The Patriots made him a captain for this game. First play, went right to him, and Diggs delivered. Over 100 yards. Impact on nearly every drive. Physical, confident, ruthless. It was vintage Diggs with a vengeance, and it had a sting for Bills fans. He wasn't just making catches, he was toying with the defense. Spinning off corners, powering through contact, baiting safeties. And when your defense knows exactly what's coming and still can't stop it, that's a problem. It wasn't just that Diggs was good. It's that nobody on the Bills' defense had an answer for him. And that includes Tre'Davious White. That includes Benford. That includes the safeties. It was a mismatch from the start, and New England kept leaning on it all night. And look, Josh Allen wasn't awful. He still made some ridiculous throws. That laser to Keon Coleman in the end zone, perfect placement. That scramble in the third quarter where he looked like he was putting the whole offense on his back, that's vintage Josh. But you could also see the frustration boiling over. The "I guess I got to do it myself" body language. The moments where he looked to the sideline like, what are we doing? And when that starts to happen, when your leader is trying to do too much, it usually means the plan isn't working. Which brings us to the coaching. This felt like a Joe Brady overthink game. A game where the play calling got cute when it didn't need to. A jet sweep to Dawson Knox that turns into a fumble. A flea flicker immediately after your defense bails you out with a turnover. You've got James Cook, one of the most dynamic backs in the conference, and he only gets 13 carries in tight game. That's not just questionable. That's a misfire. The game was never so far gone that you needed to abandon the run, and yet Cook was mysteriously sidelined during some of the game's most important moments while Ray Davis was getting touches. And let's not forget the penalties. 11 flags. Some were obvious. Holds, offsides, illegal formations. The kind of stuff you just can't excuse at this level. And while yes, the Patriots had some dumb penalties too, one drive with back-to-back unsportsmanlike calls nearly killed their momentum. The Bills never really capitalized. Every time it looked like they might seize control, it slipped right through their hands. And that's not championship football. There was one real bright spot on offense, though, and that was Dalton Kincaid. Finally, this was the performance Bills fans have been waiting on. Over 100 receiving yards, reliable hands, great route running, and most importantly, winning one-on-one battles. Josh clearly trusted him, looked his way in big moments, and Kincaid delivered. On a night where almost no other receiver could consistently create separation, Kincaid was the mismatch. He was the guy finding the soft spot, settling in his space, and catching everything thrown his way. That's what this offense has needed, and now they've got to build on it. But outside of Kincaid and the occasional flash from Keon Coleman or Curtis Samuel, the wide receiver room looked limited. And that's part of the deeper problem here. This everybody eats philosophy is great when things are clicking, when your quarterback is comfortable and your receivers are separating. But when a defense like the Patriots comes in and plays tight man coverage with top-tier corners, you need somebody who can just win. One-on-one. No help. Just go get it. And outside of Kincaid, the Bills didn't have that. And that's exactly why a guy like Diggs becomes such a nightmare. Because you know it's going to him, and he still finds a way. On defense, there were moments of fight. Shaq Thompson had some good plays. Greg Rousseau showed up early and gave the pass rush a jolt. A.J. Epineza played with fire. But it wasn't enough. Not when you're going against a young quarterback like May, who can move, who can throw on the run, and who clearly isn't afraid of the moment. They pressured him, but they didn't contain him. And when they did get him in tight situations, he found ways to escape and extend plays. It looked a little too much like a young Josh Allen out there, and not in a good way. You could argue that the defense kept them in it during that awful first half. And you'd be right. They bent, but they didn't break. But again, all it took was one final drive. One last defensive stand that didn't happen. And May walked it down the field, leaned on his top guy, and the Patriots sealed it. Just like that. It was a game of missed opportunities and mental errors, and Buffalo had nobody to blame but themselves. And then there's the vibe, the energy. Before kickoff, you'd expect the stadium to be rocking. Whiteout game, prime time, division rival. But even from the warm-ups, something just felt flat, pedestrian. Almost like the Bills assumed they'd show up and take care of business because that's what they usually do. But this isn't last year's team. And this isn't the same Patriots team from the last few seasons. That kind of approach gets you beat. And that's exactly what happened. This game exposed things. The lack of a true WR1 who can win when it matters. The need for a consistent second corner. The inconsistency in the pass rush. And even some of the limitations in the coaching staff's game planning when things aren't going to script. All of it came to the surface. This wasn't just one bad play or one unlucky bounce. This was a total team letdown, and you could see it in the post-game pressers. You could hear it in McDermott's voice. We played the game they wanted us to play. That says it all. They were out-executed, out-coached, and frankly out-willed. And now, the division is tighter. What could have been a statement win becomes a reality check. What should have been a night to celebrate turns into a long look in the mirror. The Bills are still a contender, still loaded with talent. But games like this are why the postseason is never a guarantee. You can't win in the NFL just by being more talented. You have to be sharper, smarter, more disciplined. And for one Sunday night in Orchard Park, the Patriots were all of that and more. And the truth is, this wasn't a one-off. Sure, the loss hurts more because it came at home, under the lights, in front of a fired-up crowd, all dressed in white, expecting dominance. But if you've really been watching this Bills team over the last few weeks, you've seen signs. The close calls, the uneven performances, games where the Bills walked the tightrope and managed to come out on top, not because they played clean football, but because they were simply more talented than the opponent. That's not a sustainable formula. Eventually, talent alone won't save you. Eventually, the sloppy play catches up. And on this night, it finally did. The difference is this time the opponent was ready to capitalize. The Patriots came in with a plan, executed it, and never blinked. Their defense wasn't flashy, but it was disciplined. They stuck with tight man coverage, trusted their corners, and dared the Bills' wideouts to beat them one-on-one. They didn't. New England didn't do anything exotic or overly complicated. They just kept things simple, physical, and smart. And it worked. They got the Bills to play their game. And that's exactly what Sean McDermott pointed out. We played the game they wanted us to play. That's not just an admission. That's a warning sign. Because when the opponent dictates the terms and you go along with it, you're no longer in control. You're reacting. And that's not what great teams do. This offense, for all its firepower, still doesn't feel complete. Yes, Josh Allen is elite. Yes, he's capable of taking over games. But this version of the Bills feels like it's still searching for its identity. There are stretches where it clicks, quick drives, confident throws, explosive plays. But those moments are scattered. The consistency isn't there. And when you look deeper, you start to see the cracks. The offensive line has its breakdowns. The run game, while effective when used, is still underutilized. And the wide receiver group, outside of flashes from Coleman and the ever-reliable Kincaid, just isn't consistently winning. And let's talk about Kincaid again, because he truly was the lone bright spot in this storm. This was the game that showcased why he was drafted in the first round. Route precision, strong hands, awareness in space. He was the safety valve, the downfield threat, the matchup nightmare. He was everything they needed him to be. But the fact that he stood out so clearly also speaks to how little help he got. You can't win in this league relying on your tight and to carry the receiving load every week. Especially not when your opponent has elite cornerbacks who can lock down the outside. You need someone on the perimeter who demands attention. Someone who, when things break down, can still make a play. That used to be Stephon Diggs. That guy was wearing the wrong uniform Sunday night. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers are already swirling around Orchard Park as the Buffalo Bills face what could be one of the most shocking shakeups of the season. Sources close to the team are buzzing with speculation after head coach Sean McDermott reportedly made a startling statement regarding one of the team's star players. "It doesn't play with me anymore." Though McDermott has remained characteristically tight-lipped in public, those words alone have set the NFL rumor mill ablaze. The player in question has yet to be officially named, but insiders suggest tensions between the coaching staff and certain locker room personalities have been simmering for months. According to league insiders, McDermott's comment signals not just a disagreement over playing time, but a potential fracture in the team's long-term strategy. Some believe the remark could foreshadow a trade, while others whisper about internal disciplinary measures or even a sudden benching that could reshape the Bills' roster dynamics. Fans have taken to social media in droves, debating which player could have provoked such a strong statement from McDermott. Theories range from high-profile quarterbacks to standout receivers, each speculation feeding the fire of an already heated discussion. Analysts argue that this could mark a turning point for Buffalo, whose playoff ambitions hinge on maintaining both talent and locker room cohesion. If McDermott is indeed drawing a line in the sand, it raises questions about how the front office will respond and whether other key players might be affected by the brewing tension. Though nothing has been confirmed beyond the coach's cryptic comment, the NFL world is watching closely. Every press conference, every practice, and every roster move is now being scrutinized for clues. In a league where timing and chemistry can be as decisive as raw talent, McDermott's words may be the opening salvo of a major shift for the Bills. Whether this drama culminates in a blockbuster trade, a stern locker room shakeup, or a surprising return to form for the sideline player, one thing is clear. Buffalo is at the center of a storm that could redefine its season. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.